Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me just turn off my speaker here. There we go. All right, we're launching in. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the live stream. Rough start, rough start. We're still it's going to be okay though. I usually, in the last few minutes before I go live, I try to remember the 3 buttons that I need to press. And today, I decided not to press any of them for some reason. But we're here. You can hear me hopefully, and you can see me just fine. If you can't do either of those, then do let me know in the chat here. I'm taking a look at it. Also, if you have any questions for me as the time goes on, we can chat about video production, equipment. You can see some back there, the ATEM 2MEs back there, and some other bits and pieces since last time. We can talk about Stream Day, which happened a few weeks ago. And then the main topic of today's discussion is all about H2R Layouts. I've been working hard on some new features for that, so we're going to talk about that in today's show as well. But my headphones are really loud. There we go, that's a bit better. So, yeah, like I said, let me know any worries along the way. Thanks for joining me, and I'll just go through a few people here I saw pop in there. Eric, always good to have you here from Rochester. I can see my ATEM is flickering a lot in the bottom corner there. Apologies for that. I'm trying to do a balance between that and the screen behind me, and clearly I've failed on the ATEM there. Let me keep going here. Oh, actually, there was one thing I wanted to throw in there. Became a member was a Ditzy Rhythm. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate becoming a member of the channel. Some confetti for you and for me. Hello from the UK, Shane and Hannah Holland here. Austria as well, Magic Music Live. We've got people from Turkey, Dallas, Texas. Happy Monday, friends from Jason. Hello from India. Great to have you here. Hello, hello, hello. Hello from Dubai. And Eric saying you can hear and see me just fine. Which is great. Good to have you all here. We got lots of things to chit chat about today. And H2R Layouts is probably the main event. So I think without further ado, I'll launch into that. And then should you have any questions that come up about other tools or pieces of hardware, then just let me know in the chat. So H2R Layouts, if you're unfamiliar with it, it is a web application. In fact, I can show it to you right now. It looks like this, where you, I'm a little bit off center. Hold on, let me fix that. There we go. Where you can create layouts for your vMix or ATEM SuperSource. And vMix is not too bad to make layouts within, but the ATEM SuperSource, in fact, just before I went live today, I was trying to tweak this SuperSource layout you're seeing me in the ATEM, and it's not a nice experience. I did not enjoy that. And I found that using my tool is a lot better because I've made it basically to fix that problem. So you can add boxes and then adjust them and place them wherever you want. That's the idea of the tool. No, it's water time already. And then in the last week or so, I decided to make a bunch of changes to this tool. And I'm just going to launch into those changes right now. And you can let me know if I should dig into any one of them a little bit deeper. And I've written a little list of them here just beside me, just to remind me of all the features. This started out as one small tweak I wanted to make, and it ended up being a list of like 10 new features. So we'll go through them right now. If you've used the tool before, you'll notice that things look a little bit different, but not too much different. And one of the new options that people have been asking for before is whenever you make a layout, I'll put this box up here and this box down there. You might not always want to do the whole export macro thing, because what you can do is you can copy this macro, paste it into your XML code, and then use that within your ATEM. Well, maybe you don't want to do that at all. And what I decided to do was give you an option to see what these values equal in the ATEM software control. In fact, if I go find the ATEM software control and bring that over, you can see in the SuperSource section you have position and scale and stuff, or size they call it, and cropping. Well, you could in theory just copy paste these details into there instead. So small little first change. Speaking of small but really useful changes, you'll notice that the boxes scale from the center now. That was took a bit of head scratching to get that working just the way I wanted it to work, but now it works as I expected to, which is excellent. So you can do that now and scale from the center. It makes way more sense. Question coming in here, just let me get to that. Is this tool for the Blackmagic Television Studio HD as well? It's not. This is only for ATEMs with the SuperSource feature, which would be, as of right now, the ATEM Mini Extreme, Extreme ISO, Constellation 2ME, 4ME, and the 8K Constellation. And then some of the older 4K versions of the ATEMs have SuperSource features. So you have to have SuperSource to use this tool for the ATEM. But great question there. Good to have you ask that. So center scaling, ATEM positioning. There's a couple of little small tweaks here, like the lists are expanded and easier to filter and stuff like that. But one of the biggest requests I would say that I got was the ability to crop not only left and right, but independently left and right. Now, very possible. And then I'll just zoom out just a little bit here. You can also crop top and bottom or independently top and bottom as well. And then all of this gets pulled into your macro and you can use that within the ATEM. Another tweak, I'm just going to keep blasting through these tweaks unless you find something else that you want to say. Another change is now the ability to copy paste between. So let's say I really like where this green box is, and I want that blue box to be in the same position, and then I'll maybe slide it up out of the way. So I can do is copy from the green box, paste it to the blue box, and you'll see now the blue box has copied all the properties of the green box. And then if I just want to drag that in the Y position, I can do that. Oh, wrong way. I can do that slowly but surely, or I could do it by clicking to get that up out of the way. So a good way to match a bunch of boxes and then move them independently afterwards. Speaking of moving boxes, another improvement is whenever you click on a box that's in the background, it will jump to the foreground just for a second, and then it will jump back to the background. The reason it stays in the back is because there is an order in the ATEM, and that needs to be maintained. But for the purposes of using the tool, it's easier if the box comes to the front, just for a few seconds while you move it. So there you go. I keep right-clicking by accident. How am I doing on my list here? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Next on my list, and this is a pretty big one, is the ability to export a PNG copy of what you see here. I think one of the best reasons for that is, well, there's two good reasons for that. One is you might make a really nice layout that you want to send to your graphics operator and tell them to make a lower third that fits within the SuperSource layout. But another one, of course, is the good old companion. So here we have a layout that looks a bit strange, but if I export that as a PNG and then I open that up, you can see here that it's a 16:9 PNG with those two boxes in that position. In fact, I have my companion session here somewhere. There it is. If I move that over, and I have the SuperSource box that I'm using for this live stream today. Yeah, Eric, show us all the tweaks. I will do exactly that as the time goes on here. What I can do is I can browse for that image, and then I have no idea what kind of stuff is in there. I'm sure it's a bunch of random documents, so I'll just drag it over there. But I'll browse for that image, upload it, and you can see that the image is now been pulled into the companion profile here. And what's quite nice about 16:9 as the image size is if I place the PNG up and the text down to the bottom, then what you get is this nice little button that shows the tally state in the background, just as you would expect it to, and then the image at the top as well. And in fact, if I cut to my over the head camera here, it's a little bit out of focus right now. Let me just focus that up, reaching up to the sky to focus it. On my Stream Deck here, I have that exact button right there. So it works as you'd expect it to, which is really nice. I love that. That was one of the features that I've really wanted to add since the start, an ability to grab this layout, throw it into Companion or similar, and then use that immediately. And that's something you can do now. Whenever you've built your layout, you just download the PNG and bring it into Companion. Now, if you forgot to take your PNG whenever you downloaded the macro, what you can do now is, I'm going to give you a really rudimentary example of this, but if I open up my, not that one, my code editor, where are you? Not that one, not that one, not that one. I can't see my other monitor very well here. Ah, there it is. So what you're looking at here is my XML file from the ATEM that I exported just before this live stream here. And I have a macro here, which is the basically the layout that you're looking at right now. If I copy that macro out of here, so I'm taking it from the macro opening to the macro closing little tag, the same thing that you copy paste from the website. I'll just copy that, get that out of the way. I'll just refresh the page. So we start from fresh, and then I can do this new import macro thing here and paste that code into there. And as you can see, my ATEM SuperSource layout pulls up. Now it does look a little bit different from what you're looking at because, like I said, I tweaked it before the show in the ATEM. But it pulled in that macro, so something you created before, perfect for doing this. Paste it into the code, you can start it, you can move it around if you have changes to make. But if you don't, then you can always just export that as a PNG. And now I have my SuperSource PNG that looks like the SuperSource that I'm using. Excellent little addition to the tool. I'm just racing through all the changes here. And I shall continue to race. Let's see, what else? I do like to add a bunch of features in quick succession, because if I just add one feature at a time, then things move slowly, and I like when things move fast. Those are the two coolest ones, though, I think. Exporting the PNG and then importing a macro. The reason I actually started rebuilding this whole layouts tool is because I had an idea for making a new layouts pack. So if you've previously used this tool, you'll see that there are packs available for purchase. Now you don't have to buy any of these. The tool is free to use, but you could download one of the packs and use it. And if you click on the link on the website right now, you'll see that, oh, the link is broken. That's good. That's something I should fix right after this live stream. But anyway, there's a link at the bottom here. If you click on the link in the pack, then you can purchase these packs whenever you want to support the project as well. So ATEM SuperSource pack, ATEM SuperSource animated pack, and a vMix pack. And what I've done is also made some short links. In fact, there is one in the description of this video, and I'll just pop it in the chat right now. Let's call it new pack. What you'll see on that new pack is what I have been sort of working hard on over the last few days. Sort of a redesign of the whole pack, the original ATEM pack. And this time, instead of 120 or whatever layouts, there's now 250 different layouts pre-made and ready to go. If you purchase the pack, you get a PDF download of that pack. And here's an example of it on my computer. It's sort of like an ultimate reference guide. I'm just going to scroll down to one of the random pages here. You can see 270 different layouts. This is quite the piece of work to make this happen. No, I do not want to set this as my default browser. Thank you. So what you do is look through the pack and see, do I like any of these layouts? And hopefully the answer is yes to one of them. In here, C601 is an example of a layout that I like. But what I've also done in this pack is reworked many of these to have space for graphics. So if you look at C602 here, you'll see everything's sort of just been bumped up and moved out of the way. And there's loads of variations of that kind of thing. In fact, this whole project got started and become reworked because I was building layouts for the NAB panel that I made a little while ago, and I didn't have any layouts that really worked well to have graphics underneath them. So that's the idea behind this rework here, where you can perhaps during your main show you could use C601, and then whenever it's time to show lower thirds or something, you could choose C602, and you have that that layout. It looks like that. From there, I have a part of the download, of course, is that you get access to a huge file of different things. One of them is the reference PDF that I'm showing you in the background there. But another one is all of the macros. So what did I like there? C601. So here's C601, and it's an XML file. In fact, if I just open that up in my code editor, C601, there we go. So I get this this XML here, and that's what I can use and bring into my ATEM, just like you might do it before. If this is unfamiliar to you, if you're new to this, there are some tutorials on the website to get you up and running. But basically, you export XML from the ATEM and then re-import it with this new stuff in there. So I have this XML file here that I really like, and I can just copy that, head into my ATEM macro thingy majiggy here, and paste that in. And then I'll just change the index of this to 1. Again, explained in the tutorials what all this stuff means. I'm just going to randomly change something else here just so I don't get myself confused for later. But yes, so I have this XML pasted in there. I can save that, and I'll restore this into my ATEM so I can actually use it. Now, the reason to do multiple of these right now is because I want to come back to this previous SuperSource layout here. So let's restore that into macros, and then I can run that macro there. And it should set camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. So there we go. Camera 1 is me, camera 2 is my other camera, and then camera 3, you can see, is actually an Apple TV that's turned off right now. We can come back to Apple TV. I got one for the studio here. I can circle back to that a bit later. But that is the SuperSource macro pulled in and ready to use. And there's the Apple TV popped up to be used in my production. Now, this has really screwed up my screens here. 1 second while I go find where that is. And I will revert to my previous macro that I actually do want to use, which is that one. There we go. Nice. So, like I said, the download pack gets you all of these macros, but there's a few other things in there that I haven't mentioned yet. One is the macros that set your sources. So, for example, here, if I jump into this macro, you can see that SuperSource V2 box input will set that to camera 1, and it'll set my other box to camera 2, and it'll set my third box to camera 3. But I have included this time a whole nother option, which is macros where you manually set the sources. So in this version, in C601, I can open that up, and you'll see in here, well, you might not see at a glance, but you'll see if you explore these files after purchase that there's no set input anymore. So all of that is done manually on your end, on your ATEM. The reason being that if you load up a macro and it changes the inputs, it can be a bit annoying actually that it changes the inputs. So I decided just to skip that for this version as well. And then finally in the download, you also get images, a big old bunch of images. So for example, in C6, you can see all of the images that are in there. And if I open up C601, that is the image version of the macro that I just grabbed. And you could use these in Companion, you could use these for graphics and all that good stuff. Use them as you wish. Once you download it, you can use them for your productions. The only thing you can't do is resell the pack. That's my one rule. But otherwise, you can use it for all your productions and stuff like that. Doug saying I might have to steal that lower third idea for SS macros. Yeah, it's something that it surprised me how long it took me to realize that I really want that. Because more often than not, I want to show a panel view, 3, 4 people, and then I want a lot of space to show lower thirds, or actually more often than not, I've said that twice now already, I want to show graphics like you're looking at right now, the social graphics. So it's good to have that in there. So that's that. Apple TV is for the upcoming Apple WWDC 2022. Not quite, although I could use it for that definitely. My idea behind getting the Apple TV in the studio is so that I can, let me see if this will work for us. I sure hope so. So I can use it as a receiver for my iPhone. So if I send this signal to the Apple TV now from my iPhone and cut to that camera, nothing works. That's good. That's why it has not been set up fully. I just got it. So I haven't fully set it up. But in theory, I can use Filmic Pro and send out a clean feed of my camera feed, so I could just do some stuff around the studio. I've been wanting a wireless camera and a way to show my iPad and things like that during videos, so that's one of the reasons. But that demo didn't go well. Joel wants to know, will previous purchase holders have access to the upgraded packs? So the upgraded pack, it's a completely new pack this time actually. And yesterday I sent out an email to anyone who purchased before on the old service Gumroad that I used to use. So go look for that email. There is a link to the purchase pack, and I have discounted. I was going to put a discount in that link, but instead I just set a discount on the purchase pack for the next week. So it is reduced price. So consider your discount already valid whenever you click on the link that was in that email that I sent. If you didn't get that, you can send me a message and I'll make sure you can get that email. But yes, reach out to me if you didn't get that email. So go visit the link. The price has already been discounted on the link and ready for you to purchase as well. I figured since it was such a big step up from the previous one, it wasn't like a few fixes or a couple of new layouts. I basically doubled the amount of pages that were in there. So I felt like it was a new pack, a volume 2 pack, as opposed to a few advances on the previous pack. That's my thinking. Taicho, if I'm saying that well for you. Good to see you. First time watching live. Good to have you here. Thanks so much for watching live. Excellent. Any questions? You can feel free to shoot them while I'm here hanging out live. Okay, what did I miss on the layout site before I go much further than that? I can go back to SuperSource and we can put some of these things out of the way. Go away, go away, go away. My headphones will start working as well. That's always good during the show. So let's get rid of that too. Back over on the layout side, one thing that I have set a little bit similar to what I said before, which is I wanted to give you an option to not force the sources on your ATEM, okay? So whenever you build a layout like this, you'll choose what cameras you'll want to use in that layout. But maybe whenever you paste in an old layout, you don't want that to be the case anymore. So there is now this set input sources checkbox. Yes is default and no. And you can see there that this line disappears. The one that we talked about earlier, which was set source v2 box input, should disappear and away it goes. So no longer will it set that. So when you download this macro, use it, whatever boxes were set before will be the ones that are set next time. And I find that a better way to work. So you always know and set manually the boxes, but some people like to work the other way too. So what do? We covered most of the new features, which is excellent. I think I had a few more in there that I saved if it came up. But let me see, did anyone pop in there? Yes, yay, says Joel. Thank you for the yay. And you're also, how does this look? Celebrating 6 months of membership. Thanks for the ongoing updates. Thank you so much. I appreciate the 6 months of membership. That's very kind of you. A little celebration, which is great. I can save that question for a little bit later. And that one as well. Actually, this is layouts related. ISF Production says, thanks for everything you do. Using H2R graphics currently on my live streams on my other YouTube channel. Going to start using the layouts soon. Yeah, give layouts a go. Easy to just launch in there, try it out, download it, throw it into your ATEM and see if it works for you. In fact, I'll cover this as well now since you asked. Do you have any special things that apply for non-profits? Always tricky working on a budget. You know, my whole thinking behind this, you can reach out to me and we can talk about any specific workings and use cases that you have. But my whole thinking about this is I try my best to make all the tools that I make free in some sense. So layouts, the one I've showed you right now, is an entirely free tool to use, and then you can support it if you're able to support it. So you could use it just as you saw there for free, except for the pack. Same goes for graphics and gear. They all have free points. In fact, H2R graphics is only really like a few features that you pay Pro to get, but there's many other free ones in there. So that's kind of the model I pushed for as much as I can. So that way we don't have to, I don't have to think too much about trying to keep my prices low, just for certain use cases and nonprofits and stuff. But I'm always willing to chat if you have the time to shoot me an email through the website, and we can talk about what kind of nonprofit you work for and all that good stuff. No worries at all. I do get those sorts of questions plenty of times as well, so that's all good. I will launch into some new H2R Gear updates as well, for sure. But I was just circling back to H2R Layouts, since I had a full list somewhere else. Oh yeah, one small tweak that I made, which I personally use all the time. If you're using this to build a lot of layouts in ATEM or vMix mode, you'll notice if you click over to the vMix section now, there's actually like this little question mark mode equals vMix in the URL bar, which means that if I reload the page, oh, my keyboard's about to die as the battery's running low. If I reload the page, then it stays in vMix mode, which is something it didn't do before, and it drove me a little bit crazy because I'd often make vMix layouts and then I'd reload the page and nothing would happen. So that's now possible. And I'm still in vMix mode, which is great. And if I do the same in ATEM mode, it does the same in ATEM mode. And then finally, this is one of my last final updates for H2R Layouts before we go on to some new things in H2R Gear. If I scroll down here, there is now this option to set supersource 1 or 2. So some of the bigger ATEMs and now the new Constellation 4ME HD, 4ME Constellation HD, it has 2 supersources built in. So you can set 2 independent supersources in your show prep and then use both of them while you're live very quickly and easily. So now with a simple switch of this, you can access and create layouts for both of those super sources and be ready to go when the show happens. Alrighty. That's a nice little roundup of H2R Layouts new features. I managed to get through them all in like 27 minutes, but it took a lot longer than 27 minutes to make them all, that's for sure. But I really like it. I really like to... I felt like it was sort of sitting there for a good solid year now without huge changes happen to it. So it's been really nice to jump back in, feel excited about the product and project, and then make some changes for before this live stream today. So yes, you seem like a really nice guy. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. I do try. H2R Gear questions. I'll just slide that away for now, and then I'll come back to that in 1 second because I'm just going to launch into H2R Gear in a second. Lindhager wants to know, when is your last stream before summer break? You know, I don't plan on doing a stream to end and take a break for summer. I will be gone here and there whenever I take a summer holiday of some sort, but I don't have any intention. In fact, my rough plan, I haven't really said this out loud yet, but let's see how it feels. And you can tell me if it's something you'd be interested in or not. My rough plan is to pick another day in the week and do, during the summer, and do like a secondary live stream. Excuse me. Do a secondary live stream on that day. So it's probably looking like a Friday. It won't be this Friday, but it's probably looking like a Friday. And on that day, I will live stream a little bit more casually for like 1 hour or so, and then I can figure something out. So maybe I have something I want to test or try, and I will take that opportunity to do that. So that's my rough idea. If you would be up for watching that, and if there's a way if I can be a bit more interactive than I usually am, I'm also interested in that, but I'm not sure about that yet. But I would like to say, so for example, you can now control Blackmagic cameras over the internet using the streaming bridge and the web presenter. And it's something I want to try out, but I haven't gotten a chance to try it out yet. And I figured it might as well be something I try out live and see how it goes. So it's what I'm thinking. It's what I'm thinking about. Something to consider, definitely. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Okay, H2R Gear, changing topic. Eric says, I saw on the DJP Discord you had also added some recent changes to H2R Gear too. Multi-drag drop, many tweaks across the H2R suite. Yeah, it's become a suite of applications for sure. So we can launch into H2R Gear, and then we'll go into a post-show after H2R Gear discussions where I can take any more questions that come on along the way. And then I'm going to end things around 7, so because it's the good old WWDC event today, Apple-related things, and I'll probably check that out after the stream. So yes, I added some new changes to H2R Gear. If you're unfamiliar with this, you can see my, it doesn't really matter, does it? I'm sure you know my email address by now. If you are unfamiliar with H2R Gear, it lets you plan out, here's something I was testing the other day, some connections. It lets you plan out your equipment. So for example, my office plan with the ATEM 2ME that I'm building, or that I've just gotten, this is my rough office plan for that. And I can bring in all the equipment, drag and drop it, all that good stuff, and decide where things go. One of the changes I've really wanted to make for the longest time, and that many people have been asking me to make because it's very helpful, is for example, let's say I want to, I'll just get rid of this for a second. I want to take all of the audio equipment and I want to move them up out of the way. So the obvious fix for that would be to drag and drop and select multiple. And in this case, there's now this little blue icon around a selected device, and I can use the shift button to grab a few of them. And now whenever I grab all of them, they all move together. So it's very common in a tool like this to do this kind of thing. It's just been a long time coming for H2R Gear. So it's now a feature. And now I have my audio stuff moved up out of the way, and I can make room for maybe some other equipment that I wanted to put there instead. Works really nicely, and you can select multiple gears, or you can clear the selection and select every single item. So in this case, I can move them all wherever I want to move them. And the bigger the plan gets, the sort of harder it gets to move that many pieces of equipment around in real time on a drawing app like this. But it works nicely. I'm very happy with it, and it's definitely a first step towards like a easier organization plan. For example, right now, if I grab these audio items and move them, the blue background still stays there, and the cable pins still stay where they were. So it'd be nice to be able to add more things in there. But you know, it's a work in progress. Like most development tools, it's always a work in progress. That's one of the big changes since this new version. And the other one is related to a question that came in there. Inside of H2R Gear, do you plan on adding custom connectors / cables? I have some RS422 ones I wish to create. So at this point, I don't plan on making any custom connections addable by the user, because it does make things a little bit more complicated in terms of the structure of holding all this data on my end. But I have made the first step towards an easier mechanism for me to add as many connectors as possible. So previously I had a big list on the builder here of all the types of connectors. In fact, I still have it on this category section here, which I need to fix, which is just a big list of all the categories. And you can imagine, as this grows, it just gets pretty unmanageable to scroll through a category list like that. So that will be updated. But now what I've done over on the connector types is I have added some new ones actually. I added Lightning, Speak-On, MIDI, DMX, and PowerCon this weekend. And I plan to add more, and do send me a message if you want more added in there. I'm just happy to add them, because what you can do now is, instead of scrolling through a big list, you could write an SDI and you would get access to, of course, SDI. Or if you wanted PowerCon, you could type in Power and you would get PowerCon. And I can imagine this being the future for that kind of stuff, where I will just add, because there is a finite amount of connectors in our industry, and not that many are added that often. So just, if you have any connectors you want me to add, just send that to me now via email or Discord or wherever you can find. Send me those messages telling me what connectors I need to add, and then I will add them. And as this list grows more and more, I will organize it in certain ways so it's easier to get around and search between those things. So that is a look at the changes in H2R Gear. It seems like small little changes, but these are two things that either will help in the much longer term or have been features that people have been asking for a long time now, and it's nice to get them out there. Most features I always intend to add. It's just a question of how or when, so they're good to have. And this is, unfortunately, this is a classic typo. What also came to mind is the Ethernet connector does not really go into the in or outside, so I might be something to think about as it goes both ways. This definitely is a discussion topic that I've had many times, and I think while I agree with the principle of what you're saying, the reality is that the tool doesn't actually ensure the flow of data in any sense. It's not telling you that video is going from that place to that place. It's basically just telling you a cable is being connected from there to there. So you think about it as a cable going between two areas, and in that sense it is just one cable, and it can connect into one and out to another, while it's still data flying back and forth in both directions. It's not something that I visualize on the tool here, so therefore, and I understand completely what you're saying, it's just at this point I haven't yet found a solid way to show that in the UI that still doesn't cause a bunch of side cases within the environment. So it's a constant thought that I have yet to lock down the answer for. But you're not the first person to question that. I just have yet to hear the best reason and the best workaround for it. And with DMX, yeah, this is a good example. This comes up as well. DMX, I would like to add that there's two types, 3-pin and 5-pin. It would be pity if someone packed the 5-pin as it only said DMX and not what type in the pack list. Yes, that's definitely a good point, and it's something about that comes into play for HDMI as well, and many other connectors, of course. But you might accidentally pack a HDMI to HDMI cable when what you meant to pack was a HDMI to micro HDMI cable. With this new list function and searchability of function, I already plan to add HDMI and then sub versions of that. And DMX would be a good example of that. DMX, 5-pin, and what did you say? 3-pin would be great. So that's a great point, and I'll put that down as a +1 for sure. Christopher, this is one of those classics. I haven't taught people how to use the tool well enough yet, because this is already a feature. It'd be nice to define a text property on cables for the pack list in H2R Gear, like 5 meters. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Maybe what I should do is clip this part of the video out and this live stream out and post it as a separate video. So if I want to set a custom label on a cable, I will just get rid of this cable, and then I'm going to drag this Flow 8 monitor cable from here to my ATEM, and before I let go of it, I'm going to hold down Alt, and what you'll see is I have a label that comes up, so I can say, I can give it a custom code, maybe I call this C102101, that's the name of the cable. It's a 5-meter cable, and I'll say done on that. So now I have this cable label here, and over on the pack list, you can see I have that one jack cable that is 5 meters. So it is a feature, but it's poorly documented, and that is on my list of things as well to help people use the features that I've already built, which is the least I could do, is show people how to use the tool as it already works. But give that a go. It should work well for you. No problem. So that is H2R Gear. Plenty of H2R Gear thoughts coming in. I like whenever I bring something up, like a tool that I've made, then I can see real time what people are thinking about it, challenges they're having, and then features that they want that should or may already exist. For example, here, it hasn't come into my system yet, but we'd like to see a way to pin a cable down to multiple points. Currently, you can only have 1 point in space, which would create more organized lines. You're absolutely right. Previous to that, I never had any cable pins at all, and things got very interesting, so I added the ability to add one, but multiple would definitely help a lot. I think I'll take a look at how many makes sense, but I think at least multiple would make sense. Grant here saying +1. Oh, interesting. +1 on the multiple control points on cables. Yeah, I think so. I think it becomes, for me, I wanted it to not be so a mixture between like the app doing some of the work for you and then you doing some of the finessing. But I think as more people use it, the more people that use it that really want to finesse it and build bigger things and really want those cables to go exactly where they want them. So that's totally fair. There's a +2 on that for sure. Cool. Alrighty. So I think we go into the post show and do like a little bit more Q&A if you have any questions on either of those apps or any other apps that pop up. The post show is just a chance for members of the channel to watch the exclusive post show on demand. But if you're watching live, you can stick around, watch the post show. Don't go anywhere. All I tend to do is fade up the music a little bit and thank you for tuning in. In fact, before I do that though, I realized that I didn't have my credits ready, but now I do. So thanks so much for everyone watching along. If you're watching live, like I said, you don't have to go anywhere. I'm gonna just have a little bit of water and meet you here. Thanks to all the Supreme supporters of the channel, Jeremy, Revolutionary Lightboards, Marlon, Patrick, and Jim as well. And thanks to all your faces for watching. Just going to take a little water break, a little recording break, and then be back in a few seconds. I'll see you then. Is it this button? Or no, it's that button.